It's February 26th. It's Friday. So here's the crazy thing. Gosh, I don't know if I'm gonna do this in the video. I'm gonna do this in the video diary. I don't think I'm gonna post this. Just because it's specific and it's specific. Okay. Yeah, it's just specific and it's just like I know, unless I'm being confused. Unless God, yes, it's a sty. But it looks a lot better today. Like I can actually see my eye. Not like yesterday. I'd been putting like the things. Even before I went to bed, I put it in. So it just so today has to be the day that it heals. Because tomorrow I'm going back to TJ. And it's gonna be hard to drive with this sucker. But yeah, like the crazy. Okay, so last night I was working on the videos, and he texts me just thanking me again for the lotion stick that I got, that's been really helpful. So I was like really glad. Okay. And I kept it light, like I didn't engage, I didn't share too much. Surface. Oh, he had sent me. Oh, let's not do that. Yeah, he sent me a text. And I'm like, you're welcome, I'm glad it's helping. And, you know, out of kindness, I just asked how he was doing in terms of his health. And I hope he was feeling better. And he said he was okay. And then asked me what was new. So then I put, what's new? Not much. Just staying busy and balancing my self-care and energy. Opportunities to balance myself are popping up more and more. So I'm just working on making sure I stay balanced, right? When projects come up. How about you? Anything new? He put, that's great. I'm happy for you. I'm also focusing on myself and working hard on keeping things well with the business and family. It's a tricky balance. I said, good. I'm glad you're focusing on yourself. And I'm glad to hear you're working hard on keeping things. Like I was just reflecting back. Good, I'm glad. Good, I'm glad. And this was already like 9:30. So then I put, well, it's getting late. I still stayed up. But in terms of, I mean, I was working and I didn't want to get distracted. And so I put, I hope you have a restful sleep. You know, have a good night. And then he put, I'm glad you are well. Thank you. Hope you have a restful night. So the video that I was preparing, so I'm officially, I want to say a week, maybe not a week yet. No, not a week. Like a few days ahead in terms of my posting. I have up until March 2nd, which ends up being next Tuesday. Today is what, Friday? So at least through the weekend. And in that video, I'm lying. I was working on the March 3rd one. Yeah. In that video, I am talking about ayahuasca. And I didn't know much about it. It was the one where someone who is close to me, but you know, we weren't really close, but we're close, reached out to me. She saw my face in one of her visions. She's doing ayahuasca. I had never looked into it until yesterday, because I was going to put the link on that one, and Christina Lopes actually talks about it, and it's a 3-part thing. But it reminded me of this person. when I first met him. And realizing, and I don't know why, as I'm learning a little bit more about what a shaman is, because I had heard that term, but I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it was. And the funny thing is that yesterday, as I was healing the sucker, I was like keeping it light, keeping it low. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna move stuff around, right? Because clearly the dust is what, you know, got infected. So I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna move around this much stuff. I'm gonna, you know, I cleared out my couch, a little part of my couch, so I could sit on my couch. But people have been telling me to watch the movies on El Camino de Santiago, because it's, I guess, well, I thought it was just a northern Spain trip, but no, there's like, there's different starting points around Spain that you could start to get to that point. And people, like, there's been a push. Like, people have been like telling me I should do that, I should go a month early. And then I thought, well, maybe I'll do it after. If it's a long trip, maybe I'll do it over the summer, where it's not like cold, or, you know, because I don't want to, yeah, I'm gonna get there a month early, but, you know, I'm gonna be trying to settle down. And it's like over a month. It's either a good month, or over a month long trip. So I thought maybe after, right? Once I'm settled in, once I'm immersed a little more in the culture. So people have been saying that I was trying to look up the movie The Way, but it's no longer on Netflix. So then I just started looking at documentaries, people who had done it themselves, just to get an idea for, you know, what it was really, why people do it, and the experience of it, things to be mindful of. And you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of the walk that I did in Teco. It was an all-day walk. Gosh, how many miles? But it was like a good 16-hour walk. I remember my old partner. He was like, I'll never do that again. And I was like all excited, like, no, I want to do it again. I want to see if I can beat my time. Because I kind of felt like I was like trying to like rush through it, right? Like, you know, competitive. My competitive side's coming out. But he was struggling, and I was like trying to like be animated around him, like, hey, and I had put music in the background, and I'm like, come on. And then I remember he looked at me and he was just like, what's up with you? And I'm like, what do you mean what's up with me? And I think it's because my true self was coming out, and he'd never seen that side of me before in all the years we were together. I guess I never let that part out, but I was so excited to go on this long walk. And we went with his dad and his uncle, who, by the way, killed that walk. Like, they were so many steps ahead of us, but my partner was just not used to walking, and I had already done the marathon by then, so I was like, you know, all excited about that walk. And it was to a church. It was to a church up on a hill. And so I remember he looked at me weird. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just trying to, you know, cheer you up. I'm being animated. Like, and then he's just like, no. I was like, okay, oops. So I was like, oh, okay. So, so I wanted to do it again, but at my pace, because I wasn't going at my pace. I didn't want to leave him behind, and so I slowed myself down, and I was like, okay, I'll, you know, keep your company. And his dad and his uncle were like so far ahead, and I was just like, like holding myself back, really. So when I saw this documentary, there was a little part of me, you know, that little flame was just like, I think I'd like to do that, right? Like, wow, what an experience. And it talks about like some of the people they interviewed in these documentaries are talking about these life experience, these spiritual awakenings is really what it is. The way they're describing it, I'm like, spiritual awakening, like they're going through that. And So it drew me a little more. There's this one scene where they actually are encouraged to see the alchemist. The alchemist. And that's where I was like, you know, who is this person? Let me look at what is it, you know, why is he called the alchemist? And I'll try to find the link to the specific documentary that I watched that talks about this individual. But it's a shaman. Now that I know what it is, now that I know what a shaman is, it's a shaman. And he said, you know, that he was in a line of work before where he owned lots of businesses, and that he earned lots of businesses, and maybe I will post, I don't know. He earned a lot of businesses. He had a lot of business, but he had an experience and then left that. And then, he had a death life experience where he actually died, I guess, and went through the tunnel. And then he was told that he was asked if he was done with what he was brought, you know, supposed to do. And he said no, so he got brought back. And then he just started in this path. And so he talked about he works in minerals. And I guess it's like he heals people with these minerals. And it's this, gosh, I forgot what he said. Yeah, I forgot what he said. But it's like this mineral type of healing, right? So that was really interesting to me, because I hadn't really heard about just that before. Like Alchemist, I remember seeing it in the book. That was it, the book? Yeah, it's in the somewhere. I remember hearing it somewhere. And then it just so happens that I'm preparing all these videos, and I'm preparing this one video on ayahuasca, and I didn't even finish watching it. And I remember I paused it, and because it was getting late, and there was a part of me that, as she's describing what a shaman is, you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of this person. This person. When he was teaching me about herbs. I won't say which specific herbs. But when he was teaching me about herbs, because I mean, that's a world that I don't know about, right? But just how he did it, I was really impressed. Really, if you hear that, that's my stomach growling because it's early. But I was really impressed with just like his knowledge around, not just that though, plants, healthy, like, I mean, I remember when we went on our walk, on our hike, he was telling me about like he knew what it looked like. And then he talked about sea moss and the health benefit. Like he was just so knowledgeable about that stuff. And that's what it reminded me of. That's what it reminded me of. That's what it reminded me of. This ayahuasca thing. And then I thought to myself, is that what he's supposed to become? And maybe not him per se, but whoever this new energy that's coming towards me. Whoever this new person is. New person. When it really is just, Micah is saying that it's energy. It's how you present yourself, right? How you present yourself. The energy that you put off shifts in terms of the person that you become. So all of these, this is mine. This is my little, right? Like all these signs, right? and just reflecting on what I learned about like your sun sign, but your ascending sign is the energy that you're presenting yourself to be in the world. I have no idea, right? Which is Libra. So my energy is more about balance, finding the balance. That's how I'm showing myself to the world. So not Gemini, although I still have character. So it's the energy. It's the energy. Which energy I choose to kind of encompass the most. Because I remember when I was all like gung-ho, charge, like Leo side, coincidentally, around all of the readings that I was listening to, like the daily ones, right? Leo kept popping up in all of my specific signs, you know, all like because I think I mentioned I listened to all of them, which looks like a lot, but it's not, because there's repeated signs. Like Libra definitely dominates. Libra and Taurus dominates my Libra, Taurus, and Gemini dominate my card. So it's the energy of how you present yourself to the world. If you haven't embraced that energy, because once you embrace that energy, you're going to be making decisions based on that energy, right? You can be making decisions based on how that energy functions. I mentioned that there was a person who changed her mind about coming with me this Saturday to TJ. I've always felt a connection to this person. Always felt a connection to this person. In terms of our conversations about religion, just religion. And I remember there was a part of me that thought, are we supposed to work on something together? But it always felt like she was being held back. It always felt like she was being held back. Fears, insecurities, right? Religious beliefs, constructs. I invited her to apply for that Spain program. No, she said no. Because I think she would really enjoy this journey with me. This, like seeking this information, understanding it. Like she's really fascinated of learning. She likes to learn. And I invited her, and I believe that there's a part of her that wants to come, but her constructs, like she's stuck. She's still stuck. So when she took it upon herself to research, right, instead of going off of what other people were telling her, she's like, I'm excited, I'm gonna go. Count me in. And then I responded back, I'm glad you got your power back. You know, where she took matters into her own hands instead of listening to other people, who she's already shared before, other examples of how these other people have held her back. I wonder what her ascending sign is. I'm going to ask her this weekend, since we're traveling together. I'm going to be like, what's your time, your what is it, time of birth? So that it can come out. I'm going to ask her. And the funny thing is that, MJ brought her sign up. Brought her sign up. It was, I think this is a weekend reading, and she said, she mentioned her sign, which I also mentioned is my moon sign. And what she described is her situation. It's fascinating. Like, I think, so on top of like my thought of like ayahuasca and so Christina Lopes in this part 1 talks about what a shaman does. So I was like, oh, no way. Is that who? Well, one, is that who I'm supposed to be? The idea popped in my head. I'm like, is that who I'm supposed to be? Because, you know, I'm not the best with plants. My focus is just to keep them alive, right? That's initially what I thought. I'm like, I'm just trying to keep the plants alive. Which they're sprouting, by the way, beautifully. Miss Potato Head, she is just gorgeous. Mr. Potato Head is also sprouting, so I was like really excited about that one. Really excited. I should show you guys. I should! Oh my gosh. I'll probably like do a pause and then bring them so you guys could see how they look. Why was I saying that? I forgot what I was saying now. Miss Potato Head, Miss Potato Head. Oh, yeah, so Shaman. So I guess they're supposed to like be the ones medicine. They work with medicine. But I don't, that's not a strength of mine, plants. But I've always known that I did. That was one of my, on my chart, my goal chart that came out last night or yesterday or 2 days ago. It was, it's, so that's funny. Especially because Christina Loeb's today's message, and I'm seeing the balance. And then yesterday, last night, when I was watching ayahuasca, and that thought came to me about this, the energy of this person that I encountered. I saw 111 on, it was 1:11 in the morning. I stayed up. Because, I stayed up because I was trying to finish all these belated Valentine Day cards that I've been meaning to send out. But, yeah, like once I thought it, I looked in it, I'm like, oh, it's 1:11. I'm like, I must be on the right track. Like that must be the thought, right? In my head, I must be on the right track. So MJ's message today happens to be on the shaman. It's just, it's it's just funny. It continues to amaze me. And then she's talking about timelines too. I hope I said the shaman. MJ does a better job of like, she puts the dates. She puts the dates and the titles, so it helps. Like, it's not like, with Dana, I have to remember to put the titles on hers. I just thought that was so funny that, you know, it's happened to me before. It's been a while, I think, where, you know, where the night before I'm like thinking about something, and then I come across something, and then there's like this kind of like light bulb moment, and then the next morning she's talking about it. All right, I gotta go. I gotta get ready to go do one more pickup. And I need to find an eye patch to discovered the sucker I need an eye patch. So, shades. I need to go get my shades from the car and just kind of like wear them. Oh, that's so funny. I just think it's funny. Crazy funny, right? Coincidence? We'll see. Hi, my name is Yubi, and in case you haven't figured it out, this footage is capturing my experience as I learn to navigate my personal spiritual awakening. I am learning that this experience is unique to each one of us. In whatever way we believe we are embracing living our truth, this just happens to be my journey. And despite me having a graduate degree and a license in clinical social work, this by no means is intended to replace any type of mental health advice. This is just me on a personal level, documenting my experience, shedding light on the truth that I am learning and discovering for myself, and really inviting you along for the ride. If by some magical chance you find this content to be helpful in any way, shape, or form, please click the like button, share the message, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have an Instagram account, a personal one, and one specifically for this channel that you're more than welcome to check out. I'm an open book. I have also created t-shirt designs. I'm wearing my favorite one right now, which is the North Node design, but I have that and other things that you can look at inspired by this process and journey, and I have the link in the description box as well as in the about section of my YouTube channel. So you're more than welcome to check those items out. Any type of support is great. Again, if you find this content really helpful or meaningful, sometimes when we take that step and be vulnerable, with showing what's inside our hearts and what's really our truth, we realize that we're much more connected than what we thought we were. And so I hope that as I'm living this experience, and that you find some type of truth for yourself, or find some type of ability to heal in some way just by relating, just by knowing that you're not alone. That really has been my goal with this process, not just being able to connect with others, but really for my own healing. It's definitely been a therapeutic experience and a very creative one for myself. So I thank you, and I wish you all the best, and we'll see what else comes next for me.